For the sake of time, we're going to jump through a bunch of these. We are now in Kansas on location taking pictures. Very cool. Nothing too special right out the gate with this. And, you know, it's these are great photos. Don't get me wrong, though. Just to be clear, even though this is a house finch and I've seen it before, it's these are some of the best photos I've gotten of a house finch, with given how close it was and the fact that it wasn't at my feeder, which is the only other time I photographed a house finch. So that was pretty cool. Let's see here. We've got, like I was talking about from the day before, we've got the lark sparrow on a fence still, but pretty cool. Let me look through here. We can see just peeking through on their property was a pair of owls. There was an owl, a big owl, the adult is what that would be called, out on there in another tree. It was not at the nest, but you could see two little baby owls, very sleepy at this point. This is probably around noon. We've been there for hours at this point, seeing them. I was taking this photo. You could just see them. We tried a couple of different times to see them, but that was the best one here. Technically, I believe a great horned owl is what this was. So I have seen them before, but I've never seen babies. And it's not like it's the best photo, but this is the best I could get looking into that nest. We tried from different angles as respectfully as we could, being very quiet and cautious to not disturb them as they were sleeping and give the mother her space and the babies and everything. This was the best that turned out of that, but I'm still happy about it. However, the lark sparrow we'd already technically seen, so not a brand new one, a lifer. However, as we're sitting there looking, you may remember a couple of weeks ago at this point. I don't know when it came out. There was a point where I was looking through and taking photos, and I edited a photo and, oh, cool. And since I'm on the backside of it, because I'm about a month behind when I'm actually doing this stuff by the time I get to the editing process, there was a point where I just went, skip that. We don't talk about it. Because this technically counts as the first time I ever photographed one that I'd seen many times before, the Swainson's hawk. Pretty cool. Yeah. I'm counting this one because it was special on a trip and I didn't think about it until after I got back from the trip and was editing photos from like the week before I went on the trip. And I went, well, I'm just not gonna, it's a bad photo anyway. Don't look at that. So, Swainson's hawk, very cool. Let me see. That's an eastern kingbird. I now know that for sure. We've had a fair amount of them coming through over the last month looking at them. The white on the tail tips, I think, is a really good giveaway. Let's see, what else do I have here? I'm looking through. There's so many. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. Brand new for me, though, new life bird, the red-headed woodpecker. And excellent photos of it, too, if I may say so. I'm missing one of them. I had one that I particularly liked that I don't see here. Did I not edit it? I may have missed it, unless it was further along. We might come up with a couple. That's weird. Anyway, moving on. I know I'm jumping around, but I thought I had that one for sure in here. It's fine. We'll look at it. Red-headed woodpecker right there. Up in the tree, just bright red. I'm super happy about this. This is great. It was all over. Like, it lived there and it wanted to be known. It was showing off pretty much the whole day for all of us. It was great. Um, oh, white crowned sparrow, but like the water, looking for water at their little, they put out some water for the birds. So they came by. Yep, white crowned sparrow, looking around a little bit. Here we go. Swainson's thrush was a brand new one, so that's another life bird. Brand new lifer here. It hung around the water for a little bit. I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, it's not the most nature oriented with the bowls and the concrete block and everything, but I'll take it. That's great. And then it took off, and I was super happy that I got a picture of it as it was taking off. That was really cool. Um, did I? There we go. That's a little bit better for the lark sparrow up in the tree. And as it cranes its head around, you can really see the colors on it here. I'm happy about that. That's great. So, more from that same day. As they put out water, this may have been the white crowned sparrow doing that, like splashing in the water. I just thought that was cool. The orange crowned warbler, brand new one for me. That's another life bird. Just there, right there. Came right up, looking to get some water here. Cool. And then while we were still there, out of the ones that I picked through to find, there was one point everybody was talking about the red-headed woodpecker. It got to the point where people were kind of tired of the red-headed woodpecker by the end, but there was a red-bellied woodpecker that was a lot harder to find. We finally got it. There's a bunch of us being like, "Oh, it's over here," and like snuck around the side of the house and watched it as it was up under a tree, drumming into the tree, and we were just there watching it doing. So that was really cool. Same day, Second location, we go somewhere else. We were looking for burrowing owls, didn't find any burrowing owls. Well, okay. The first person who got there saw the burrowing owl and spooked it, which totally fair. Makes sense. It wasn't where they usually see it. So flew off, didn't see it again, spent a little bit of time on the side of the highway looking for it, didn't happen. Continued along, we went to a waste treatment plant, which from the day before seems to be a good spot to go check them out. I should look for them in my local area as well because you can certainly see some birds there. That's for sure. Like, hey, Franklin's Gull. Remember from the day before where I was talking about that stuff? Yeah, we saw Franklin's Gull out there. Again, pretty far. It's not like they were the best photos or anything, but there was this, which I'm super happy about, the black tern. I'd never seen one before. I'd never even really heard of one before, but I managed to get some photos of it here in flight as it's going, and that's just that couldn't be happier about that. Um, was there anything else out there? I can't remember all the life birds. I believe I go through it. Oh yeah, this gull. I don't know what this gull had. I don't think it was a fish because it may have been a fish. It may have been a fish that it picked up, and I think it may be. But like I'm looking, I don't see it here, which makes me think. And if it had caught one and brought it with it and dropped it, other birds would have been going after it. So I kind of feel like it just happened to be walking along and picked up maybe a lizard that was sunning. But I don't know. That does kind of look more fish-like to me. Anyway, it just kind of gulped it up, took it, and just gone. And I don't think anybody even noticed that happening. I believe I was the only one. Nobody said anything about it. I don't think, or I'm misremembering. I don't know. It was a month ago. But that got some cool photos. That was neat. Female yellow-headed blackbird. They're a lot more brown. I didn't know that. Learned that day. Um, I believe we have more of the black tern. There were so many Wilson's phalaropes. At the first location, I talk about it when I show up, and I just start counting them, and I count over 100. And then we show up here, and there's like 150 to 200. It was insane. But on the drive there, I carpooled with someone, and the guy I was talking to, I was like, hey, I saw over 100 of them. He's like, whoa, those are insane numbers. And we pull up, and I looked around, and I turned back to him. I was like, hey, I think we beat my numbers from the day before. Yeah, there were just ridiculous amounts of them just out there. I didn't take the landscape camera, so I didn't get any photos. I believe this is more of the black tern as it was doing its thing out there. Pretty cool. Um, there's a shoveler. We've got a few others. I can't remember. I think I was taking a picture because they were like the one with its head down is a scaup. I'm not counting it as one that I've gotten a good photo of, so it's not going into my list of birds I have successfully photographed and identified, but cool. A whole bunch of avocets that took off at one point. Just a ton. There's a Franklin's gull with the black head to it. And you can kind of see, like, that's a little bit better. It came a little bit closer here. I'll take that. That was pretty cool. And then something really cool happened. See, my photos did get out of order because those would have been at the end. Okay, so we had um, Lark Sparrow, I think. And we had Say's Phoebe. There was a red-tailed hawk. Got a beautiful photo of that. I'm super happy about that one. It was very unhappy that we were there that morning. This was still back early in the morning. Again, I don't know how these got out of order here. House wren. That's a brown thrasher. I'm from Georgia, state bird. I've seen them before, but it was really cool. Everyone was super excited about it, so I was happy for them to see that. Here's the one I was talking about with the woodpecker. It comes up at one point, and I just managed to get a photo. Not great, a tree's right there blocking it, but then I look at it, and I'm like, oh, corn. Yeah, they put out corn at like there's just fields and things like that. Not that they were putting it out. That's what it was because I asked the owner. I was like, you guys leaving corn cobs out? He's like, oh no, but the corn fields that are all around. It must have gone and grabbed. I was like, what? So I was happy about that. That red-headed woodpecker with a corn on the cob. And then brown-headed cowbird. I think I've seen them before, but I did think that was a fairly good photo to see the brown of it right there in the tree, especially considering all morning was cloudy, so it was really like hard to get some good photos, and that's why I don't have a ton from early in the morning. But then there was another new one. Here we go. This was another life bird that I'd never seen before. This is the Oriole, and I do believe this is the Baltimore. On the day we saw all three of them, but I don't think I actually managed to get a good orchard Oriole photo, but I think I got the Baltimore here, so this would have been a brand new one for me, which I'm just thrilled about. I need to double check my photos to make sure I didn't get an orchard at some point, or I'm wrong and I'm flip-flopping them. I don't remember. I haven't looked in the book in a little bit, so I'll double check before it goes onto the website, but there we go. There's that. That was it. So there was one more thing. Anyway, we jumped back and forth there. We started out on location, went to the another location. Then, after everything was said and gone, I do have some photos that I will talk very little about because this was a not thing that the entire group knew about for obvious reasons. But the owner let me know of a special little place that I could maybe check out after everyone else had left and see, before I left for the day and left that location and left Kansas, if it was still there because there may possibly have been a sleeping barn owl. So that's what I have to say about that. I thought that was really neat. I was very quiet and snuck in there, took a look around. The male was nowhere to be seen, but I was told the female never leaves the nest, so this must be the female. And there we go. What a fantastic day. And that was day 2 in Kansas.